people, my name is Andy Dixon and this is Old Man by the Sea Productions, and today is going to be an install video. There's a lot of stuff I need to learn on the boat and do with the boat before I really figured out how I want the boat to be set up. So what I have done, I've ordered several things to install on this boat that'll help it be more like my kayak was and more conducive to how I like to fish. So I wanted to fish in it several times before I ordered anything or before I started putting screw holes in the boat, because I don't want to do that until I have to. But there are some definite things I wanted on the boat, and I fished out of it probably at least 4 or 5 times now, and I love it as a fishing platform, but there's just not a whole lot of extras with the boat. So I'm going to take less than $200 and I'm going to make it be the boat that I want it to be. There may be more additions on down the road, but these are just some things that I figured out over the course of say about 5 or 6 fishing trips that I want to add to the boat. So come on with me and let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what I'm going to add to the boat, and I'll show you the process that I go through. So thanks for watching. So I thought I would share a little bit of my thought processes. I've fished out of a kayak for the last 5 years, and I guess I don't need these on right now. And I have my kayak set up for me perfectly. I loved the things that were behind me, my rod holders, everything was great, and I had everything that I needed really at a finger's tip reach. I mean, I could get my tackle was underneath my seat, so it was really very easy to use that kayak. And the one thing I noticed in the boat is I don't have that same kind of access or that same kind of convenience. So I just got to thinking, what do I have that could help? And I'll show you, this is just again, how my brain works. So this collection of stuff, I had a hull failure, and I got my hull replaced by Old Town about 2 years after I owned the boat, because in the wheel, well, not the wheel well, but the seat well, they developed a crack. And the process of getting warranty service for the kayak was very easy. Old Town is awesome. If you're looking for a kayak, I definitely suggest Old Town, just because of their service and customer service and the way they stand behind their product. But with that crack, I sent a picture, went through a little bit of a process, and long story short, got a new boat. But to get the new boat, before they would send it, I had to cut a 10-inch hole out where the serial number and things are, and I had to send them a picture of that hole. But before I junked my kayak, which basically by then it's junk, I took all this off the kayak, and these tracks right here came to mind. And I thought, you know what? I should be able to install these, and I'm going to put them, I'm trying to decide, but I think I'm going to put one here and one over there, and I will be able then to have my rod holders that I use in my kayak. I can use them for trolling. I can put a camera there. I can do all kinds of stuff, because the one thing this boat doesn't have is that VersaTrack system. Now, I don't know if it's just because it's a Panfish model or if it's a specific model of Panfish, but a lot of the tracker boats have a VersaTrack system that is basically right here on the edge of the boat. Well, this boat doesn't have that, so I'm going to add all of this stuff to make it the kind of boat I want it to be. And if I had to buy rivets and a rivet gun, I forget the exact price of these. I think the rivets are around $8 a box, and I'll look these up on Lowe's when I do the video. I did buy a new hat band. The one I'm using now is an actual hat, and it does kind of hurt right here as when I have that hat on, it kind of hurts right here on my forehead. So I thought I wanted to buy a new hat band, and this hat band was $22. I also ordered, which you can't see, but a new tripod, because the one I had before was just a cheap crappy thing and it kept falling apart. And the new tripod I have was I think $14.99, so $15. All right, so let me kind of go through what I have, and I'll put all this in the links in the description, where if you want to order any of this stuff, you'll be able to go to the description and order it. But this is a Frabill net gaff holder. I don't need a gaff, but it's something I noticed that as I've been out on the water, I just had no place to put my net. So I wanted some place for my net. And this is basically $19 on Amazon, and all of this came on Amazon. I ordered 4 more tracks because I want to put some tracks either down on the side or back here on the back, but I wanted more of these track systems, and this 4-pack was $19. Comes with the hardware. I'm hoping these are stainless steel screws. I couldn't find out anything about them. I'm guessing that's stainless steel. Other thing I noticed, I needed a tackle caddy. I needed some place to put my pliers and, you know, scissors, all that kind of stuff. So this tackle caddy, $24. I bought this at Dunham Sporting Goods because I thought the other thing I have a hard time is if when I've caught a fish, where do I put my rod? I'm going to put this up toward the front of the boat. I don't know exactly where yet, but I wanted some place where I could actually put my rod if I'm handling a fish. And again, you know, on my kayak I've got a rod holder spot, but I don't have that on the boat. So that I got at Dunham Sporting Goods, and I believe it was 25. Yeah, this was $25. And I'll figure out where I'm going to mount all this stuff here in a little bit. The other thing I noticed is I needed some kind of a cup or some place to put like lures or line or something, soft plastics I was going to throw away. So I ordered this 2-pack cup holder, and that'll fit in these rails. So again, this is kind of going to be my kayak tracker in a sense. I hope anyway. And the cups, this 2-pack of cups is $25. And then I ordered a 6-pack of rod holders, because that's the other thing I noticed as I'm out there. You know, there is room somewhat on the sides of this boat, but it's not like a bass boat where you've got that huge flat area in the front where you can lay all your rods across it. And I just don't like having them laying down. So I'm going to use these, and I've got to figure out exactly where to mount them. I'm thinking somewhere in this area on both sides. And then I'll have my rods where I can access whatever lure or rod I want to use, whatever I've got it rigged up to do. And that 2-pack, this is a 2-pack, there's another 3 down here, was $27, and it comes also with hardware. I don't know if I can use this hardware or not. I got to figure that out too. But so that's what I've got to begin to, in a sense, pimp out my ride. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm going to install the first 2 tracks up front. These tracks, I've got to figure out where I want them. I may want to put them back here to have more area for trolling. I'm just not sure yet. You know, I've got rivets, I've got screws, I've got ways to attach it. I just have to figure out how I want to attach it. Anyway, that's kind of going to be my process today. Hopefully I can get them all done because I really want to get back on the water. Oh, I need to mount my fire extinguisher also, and I'll probably mount that. It's supposed to be mounted somewhere where it's accessible, so I got to figure out where I'm going to mount this thing too. But so there's a lot of things to do today. So rather than fish, I wanted to get my kayak. God, I keep saying kayak. I wanted to get my boat, or my kayak tracker I'll call it, ready for the water, and hopefully next week I'll get back out there. So it's going to be a lot of me blabbing today, so I apologize for that, but hopefully this will give you some ideas on how you might want to accessorize your panfish tracker, or even your bass tracker should you decide to buy one. One other thing to be aware of, again, this is me as a new boat owner. When I came out to open up or take the cover off the boat and kind of get it opened up to do some of this work, these compartments, I was in a huge rainstorm last time I was out. Everything in there had water on it, and my pea brain thinks, oh, that's like an oven, it'll bake out, you know, it'll clean, or it'll dry everything out. Well, no. So I've had to open up every single hatch. This one wasn't as bad, but those 2 side compartments were just like a greenhouse, had all that condensation. So I've got everything that I had in those basically drying out. Even this shirt was damp, and I didn't even wear it, but it's damp still. I had a couple towels in this bag, and they were just soaking wet. Didn't use those. So Just know if you have this boat, especially the Panfish, these are not waterproof or even watertight. But if things in there get wet like they did, because it was a deluge, that water doesn't evaporate just because it's hot and sunny like it has been. Although we had 3 days of rain. But anyway, I figured they would dry out on their own. But nope, I've had to open everything up, take it out, wipe it off. So just one more thing to know as a new boat owner, you've got to pay attention to the hatches to make sure you don't let stuff mildew and mold. Fun stuff to learn. Okay, all of these accessories, I'm not going to include the headband, but all these accessories here, not including this one, this from here all the way down, that was about $140 on Amazon. This rocket launcher was $25. So I'm looking at right now, just adding to the boat another $165. And I will do a breakdown of everything I've spent and what I'm spending on the boat monthly. A little surprising, to be honest with you, but it's okay. I just wanted to let you know. So if you're wanting to do this kind of addition, you're looking at about $165. And now remember, these two tracks here came off of my old town kayak that got replaced. So this would probably be still at least another $20 or $30, because these are really nice, heavy duty. They're long tracks, and I'm really excited to get those added to the boat. Like I said, I'm just going to fit this out like a kayak, because when I bought it, it was the only boat that kind of reminded me of a kayak, because you sit down in it. I sit up to the front, all my controls are up front. So I tell you, so far it has been so fun to fish out of. And I've been trying to measure this and make it exactly the same here and here, but here's what I'm realizing. This gunnel, I believe that's what it's called, it's getting wider as it comes down. So if I make these two things match, this is actually going to be basically off a little bit. If I make these two screws exactly the same. So what I've done is I've just basically eyeballed it. And if you step back a little bit, you can see, let me show you the camera, see how straight that is with the gunnel? So that's all I'm doing. I'm just lining this up, just eyeballing it, but I'm making it straight so I know that it will be basically parallel to the gunnel here, which will look much better than if it looks off or something. So I wanted to have it kind of the same as the gunnel. So see how that runs right along with the gunnel there. One of the other things, when I bought the boat, I asked the guy at the dealership, you know, basically, what is this material? Is it aluminum? Is it something I can drill in? And he wasn't positive, but he felt fairly confident that he said that's probably just 3/4 inch marine grade plywood. So I asked him about, you know, drilling in it, and you know, there were some areas he showed me to, you know, avoid in here because of all the controls, and maybe down through here because of wiring. But he said for the most part, he said, you drill away, you're not going to hurt anything. I'll be doing screws in the plywood part, and then if I do anything where it's like actually aluminum, I'll use the rivets there. But just if you're wondering what this material might be, he was really confident that it was 3/4 inch marine grade plywood, which he said you can, you know, do what you want to with your drill. So I said, cool deal. All right, I'm gonna start drilling. Let's see what happens. So now it's just time to do a drill here. So I'm gonna push down as hard as I can. That was simple. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put this screw in to hold it steady so it doesn't move. Well, I drilled a hole, and to be honest with you, number one, I can't tell where I drilled because of this carpet, and this is just plywood. I don't need to drill holes. I'm just going to go straight with the screw. So I'm going to push that down, and we're just going to go straight in with the screw. I don't want to strip that, obviously. I don't know how strong that's going to be. That carpet makes it kind of tough. All right, let me get a Phillips head here. I'm gonna finish tightening this down with this Phillips head. Okay, good and secure. So I've got my torque set on 4, if you're wondering what my torque is set on. Yeah, that's nice and secure there. So probably too secure. I need to back this off a little bit right now. But that's gonna tighten right down there. So if you set your torque on 4, you should be good on the screws. Now it's gonna make sure that, and I'm gonna work my way this way so it secures down all the way down and it keeps that down with the carpet. And that's just about perfect as far as that goes. So let's do a couple more screws here. Yeah, I just don't want to strip out the wood. It's the main thing. And last one. All right, now I'm just going to take my Phillips head and we're going to tighten these down. You know, I need to make sure it's going to, I'm looking at this track, it's going on the outside here. It's going into the inside and it's not very loose there. Let me go look at this. I need to go get my rod holder. This is off my kayak, and it's just a Zuka 2 by YAKHACKER. So it's one of the, I think it's called a star mount. But anyway, let's just see how we're doing. Whoops. Yeah, this tightens down. That's solid. Very nice. There you go. And then I'll be able to put this just like that. Oh yeah, I like it when things work. All right, well, let's keep on screwing these down a little bit more. This thing is tight, there's no doubt about that, and it kind of pulls to the center here a little bit, but I'm able to push this all the way through. So this is good and solid. It's not going anywhere. I'm gonna do the other side now. So this is just rinse and repeat. I will say this, I have this screw hole right here. This screw hole right here is 2.5 inches off of the carpeted part of this, the side of the boat, and about a finger's width off of this. There's a little ridge, you see that ridge right there, that runs, and it's about a finger's width there, which would be, probably 1/2 inch. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 off of there, and that's the same on the other side. So I'm trying to keep everything at least somewhat uniform. So let's just go ahead and start screwing these screws in. I don't want to go too hard at first. Oh, need to make sure I get it straight on here. And again, I'm just eyeballing that, but that runs right along with the side of the boat. Now, one thing I didn't do over there is I'm kind of holding this track apart as I put this in. You know, these are the things you kind of learn as you're doing it. That way it's not pulling this track in. Yeah, this is much better already, I can tell. That's the whole reason I'm doing these videos, so that somebody else that wants to do it can learn from my mistakes. Which, you know, that's just how you learn. If you don't do, you don't. Or if you don't make mistakes, you're not learning. So fine by me. All right, now I'm just going to take my Phillips head and tighten these down like I did over there. So let's just rinse and repeat. Huge difference in the size of this track compared to that one. This looks more like it would do on the kayak, so I got to tighten these down. It's taking the Phillips head now, and I'm going to tighten these down and push down to make sure I've got them as tight as I can get them in this carpet, because the carpet definitely pushes up on the bottom of this track. All right, that's bad news for my kayak as I start stripping parts off of it, but that's the way it goes, I guess. So we'll put this in here. And that's going to be for my trolling rod. Get that tightened down. It's going to be just like that. That is perfect. I'll be able to bring it up like that. That's awesome. I've got 2 tracks I can set up my trolling rods with. This is going to work, guys. And like I say, these 2 were basically free. They were out of a kayak I repurposed for the parts from. All right, so now what do I have? This is awesome. Like I said, this is going to be very much like my kayak. So as you can see here, I've got my rod holder mounted in the track just like I would in my kayak. I've got my YAKHACKER boom arm mounted. Let me get back a little bit. In my track, just like I did on my kayak. Now I did put it on the side opposite the trolling motor, because obviously I need to have access to the trolling motor. But that means when I'm out trolling, I'll be able to basically adjust this, and I can have my camera pointed to the back of the boat so you all can see what's going on as I troll, which is one of the things I didn't like about before when I was wearing either like a hat cam or a chest cam, is you never saw what was going on behind the boat. And you know, if I'm going to show a fishing video, I'd like to at least show what I'm doing. And then I've got on this side the other YAKHACKER rod holder, or Zoom, what is it called? Zuka 2 by YAKHACKER, and that's solid. So now I've got up front here 2 rod holders and a camera boom arm for the front of the boat. And the nice thing is, with this arm, I'm going to put those tracks toward the back. I'll be able to move that arm to the back if I want to show me fishing out from the front. So this is going to work. And like I said, when I first saw this boat on YouTube, I thought, man, that boat would be what I want it to be once I get it set up for the way I want to set it up. So I'm excited. Now I've got to figure out what to do next. I think I'm going to mount the tackle caddy up front. With this tackle caddy, there is some assembly required, but it wasn't very hard. I didn't show it. You know, I mean, come on, y'all can figure that out. But this are the instructions. It comes in all these pieces, but they all snap. And if you follow along, the sides go on first. These are the sides right here. Then you have the back plate. So that's the back plate right here. They snap onto the back plate. Then you've got they clip to the front. So this is the front. And then you have a top, which is just an outline that snaps it all together. And then you have screws and that go into these. There's 6 on the bottom and then 2 on the top that hold it all together. Very solid. I like it. You know, it took me, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to put together, but if you're a dad and you put together, or a mom, and you put together toys at Christmas time, no big deal. And now I'm going to mount it using my riveter, and I'm going to mount it right here. And the nice thing is, where I've got this, this is an aluminum box. Let me get this out of the way. So I'm going to rivet in here, and the back of this is a box. You can see this is riveted itself too. I'm going to rivet back here. I can't see what I'm even doing. But the nice thing is, because I've got this lid, that's the center. And with this caddy, I've got a hole that's the center. Let me hold that up so you can see it right there. So all I've got to do is just basically put this where I want it and make sure that this center hole in the tackle caddy matches up with the key slot in the latch. And then I know I'm centered. And then the only other thing I have to do is just make sure that I am level. So should be an easy installation. I've never used a rivet gun before, so I'm gonna go practice with rivets for a little bit before I actually do it on the boat, and then I'll get this installed. And that's so I'm going to put it right here, I can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm gonna put it right there, and that should be very handy for when I'm fishing. I've got a place now to put my pliers. I'll have a place to throw extra baits, or if I'm, you know, want to switch out stuff, I'll be able to do that. If I want to put a, you know, pair of scissors or something, I'm going to have at least a place to put those. This actually holds a couple of small tackle boxes if I want those in there, which I have. So we'll see, but I just need some things to help me not have stuff just laying everywhere. That's a bit frustrating while you're fishing. I want to have a place for everything, and so that's what I'm working towards. So let me go practice with the rivets for a little bit, and I'll be back. Well, okay, riveting is not that hard. I've never done it before. If that's something you want me to show how to do it, I will. I'll put my piece of plastic. But it's, you know, you basically drill. Now for the rivets I have, it's a 3/16 inch hole, and you just keep squeezing that rivet gun until it finally pops it loose, and there you go. So what I'm going to do, I've got, let's see if I can put this, maybe I can put it right here, I don't know. Let's see how this works. I think that's good. I'll try not to move the, so this is going to go right here. I've got a level in here, so I can put my level, you know, I'll show you that in a minute. So I know that if I've got, yeah, that moved. I've got this keyhole even with this slot down here. So, and then I've got my level. See, there's the level. I know it's level in there. And what I got to do now is I'll drill the top 2 holes and put rivets there. And then I'll drill the bottom holes and put rivets. And I've got a tackle caddy. I've got it level on the inside, and also I'm clearing the bottom of the top here so I can drill my first hole. All right, that's through. Now let me make sure that I keep this thing level here. In fact, and I'm using a 1/2 inch rivet. All right, so I'll show you real quick. So I've got, that's where the rivet's going to go. That's my level, and that's my center there to there. So I'm in a good spot. Yeah, this is fun. To say this is it's a tight fitting boat, but it's all right. All right. All right, I'm all the way through. So I'll put my other rivet in there. And now let's just open up, make sure this is going to give it enough. Surely goodness has got enough rivet sticking through there. It's a 1/2 inch. So let's just see. Let me get up here. And I guess the nice thing about using rivets with carpet, it's just going to keep clamping it down there until it's clamped good. So let's see how we're doing back here. And there's my rivet right there. So that's my 2 rivets, and that'll tighten in nicely. And I've definitely got enough coming through the back to tighten it in there. So I think what I probably should do is go ahead and get these 2 top ones in there. The next thing I want to mount is a this rocket tube. It's a Scotty product. I got it at Dunham Sports for $25. I think I've already said that, but need to mount this so that whenever I catch a fish, I'll have a place to stick my rod like I do in my kayak. So I think where I'm going to put it, well, like I am going to put it, is right down here. My only decision I'm trying to make is, and I think I like it like this. If I have it like this, no, I think I'm going to do it just like that. So I'm going to mount it down there, basically right in the corner. So when you know, I catch a fish, I'll be able to put my rod in there, and it'll be out of the way also. So just like I have on my kayak, I've got a place to put my fishing rod whenever I catch a fish. So I can stick it down in there, and you know, I don't have to worry about it laying it down this way or that way. So I've got a place to put my rod. So this is just basically 4 screws, and my drill, and then I'll take the Phillips head screwdriver and tighten it down really tight. And one more thing to attach, and then, oh, I don't know if I showed that finished or not, but that's the tackle caddy. It comes with a bungee that goes across it, but I don't think I really want that. It's just going to be in the way. I'm not too worried about stuff flying out of the boat. So, but that's solid. That is going nowhere. My first rivet job. All right, one more project done. Next is the rod holder for when I catch fish. The rocket tube holder. It is definitely tight. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I guess the best I can, right? Lordy, lordy, lordy. Yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to get down. You know what? I might need to go on the outside of the boat and do this. I think that's what I'm going to do. I can't. There's no way I can pretzel myself in there. At 6'3", it ain't going to work. So let me get on the outside of the boat and do it. Don't need the tube on there for right now. I just want to get this base mounted. That'll make it a little bit easier to do. And all I'm doing, I'm just eyeballing right here. It's the same on all the sides. I'm going to do the top first because that's the easiest spot I can get to. All right, that is level. What if that's aluminum? I think that whole front plate's aluminum, which means I'm gonna have to drill a hole if I'm gonna use a screw. If I can rivet that or not, I don't know. I don't think I can rivet that because it's got a very recessed part of the head. Well, I'm gonna have to get some longer stainless steel screws for this because the rivet definitely is not long enough. So we'll put this one on hold, and I'm gonna go ahead and go back and mount my fire extinguisher and get that mounted. That's supposed to be accessible wherever you mount it. And I'm gonna mount it back here, right in the corner. The gas can is over there, so I figured that would probably be the best spot to put it, is right there. I'm gonna mount it over here. So I'm gonna mount it over here, I think, because my battery is right there. The more I thought about using rivets back here, the more I really didn't like it, because let's just say for whatever reason I have to change out this fire extinguisher. If I rivet that to this aluminum, I'm stuck with it. So with screws, I can take the screws out and then redo something if I have to replace this fire extinguisher with a different one. So let me get this thing mounted and then I'll be done for the night, because I've got to get bigger screws to mount that other rod tube holder. And I got to think about where I want these other tracks to mount, and where I want to put my net holder, because I'm not sure exactly where I'm with that either yet. So all right, so let me go ahead and get this fire extinguisher mounted, and that'll be one less thing I got to worry about. Put the fire extinguisher, just kind of figuring out where I would want it to mount, and you know, right about like that. I can grab it. The top is not exposed here. So I'm gonna mount this right about there. Yeah, right about there. And let's just hope that this is plywood. That is not plywood. All right. That I think is actually metal. Okay, let me go to plan number 2 here. Okay, this is metal. I've already got the top screw in. I didn't show that. I mean, it's not a big deal. So I've got that top screw in. Let me go get my level real quick. Just want to make sure that when I put this in here, I keep it level. And that is perfectly level right there. So let me go ahead and drill out this hole right here. And this in, and I'll have my fire extinguisher mounted like I'm required to by the Coast Guard, which is a good thing. And that is going nowhere, but you'll see what's going on here. So that's where the fire extinguisher is going to mount. Be right in there. I'll put the band around it, and it's just under the ledge of that. There we go. And then you have this little, you have a little lever right there you pull to snap it out. But that's snapped in now. It's not going anywhere. All right, one more project done. All right, so what have I accomplished today? I've got my fire extinguisher mounted, and it's just below the level of the boat. Got my tracks mounted. So now I've got trolling, or I can troll now. I have rod holders. I've got a camera holder on here, and all this came off my kayak, and I've got one on the other side. And then I got my tackle caddy mounted, and used rivets for the first time, and that was not hard at all to do. And then I've still got to mount my net holder over there, my Frabill net holder, and then I've got to figure out where I'm putting these extra tracks. I have 4 of them, and once I figure that out, I think I'm ready to have the boat done. Might be a few more things to do, but not much. It's awesome. I'm excited. And I know, I've got to get some screws. That's the other thing I need to do is I need to mount my rocket launcher my rocket launcher rod tube in that corner. But I've got to get longer stainless steel screws because I've got 3/4 inch, and I probably need, well, in fact, I'll take the base with me when I go to the hardware store to make sure I've got enough to come through the base, but not too much. I don't want to, go way past what I need to go way past. So I don't know what's behind all of that. So this is day 1 of basically making my new tracker Panfish 17 like my kayak, and I am already very excited and happy about it. Thanks for watching, and there'll be the next video. We'll just continue on after this one. See you tomorrow, I guess.